Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to go ahead and teach you guys how you can do this very popular cow print tumbler. So without further ado, let's get started. So first things first, you can use a double wall tumbler or you can use any type of tumbler that you want to use. But for my one, I used the original double wall Starbucks tumbler just because I also use them for like when I make snow globe tumblers. So you're gonna go ahead and paint everything white, everything, okay? And this is what it's gonna look like. Make sure you cover or you seal your tumbler after painting it. I have one ready just because I do make them a lot, so just use any white paint, spray paints of course, and then seal it with a clear coat. You can find them at Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, anywhere. Just make sure you use the good type. I think the one that I use starts with a K. I'm gonna go ahead and put it somewhere on the description. But so after this, let's go ahead and move on to the vinyl. Okay, so for this one, I am doing a different method. I know there's a lot of different methods out there, but I use my Cricut machine to cut out the vinyls. These are permanent vinyl, so once they are cured onto the tumbler, it's very difficult for them to come off unless you peel it off yourself. So I use the brown and the white. You could use pink, purple, it's up to you depending on what color your cow print is. So what you're gonna do is, because the the logo has very small detail, so this is the kind of technique that I would use that works for me. Whatever works for you, you do that. And for anyone who does not have a Cricut machine or a silhouette machine or a permanent vinyl, I'm gonna go ahead and put the link down in the description below. You can go ahead and check it out, and you can go ahead and purchase your Starbucks logo permanent vinyl, even the cow print. It's just gonna be somewhere on the screen or in the description below. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and weed out every small detail from this logo, and then we're gonna go ahead and stick the brown logo on top of the white sticker, just like this. So you have to make sure you're carefully placing it down. The good thing about purchasing your already made logo, you don't have to do this part right here. It's already done for you, and all you need to do is just stick the logo on your cup. So yeah, just make sure everything is centered. It doesn't have to be super perfect. You can have just a little bit. It's fine because you're gonna cover it with a rhinestone anyway. So yeah, just squeegee it down. Make sure that there's no bubbles or anything, or it's not lifting up. And right over here, we're going to go ahead and get our already painted, already sealed and cured painted tumbler. Okay, make sure you let your tumbler sit, because if you don't, the paint is going to peel. No, I don't sand my cup, I don't do any of that, but I do make sure that the paint, anything, glue, stickers, I make sure that I give it at least a day for it to cure. That's why when a lot of people say, why does it take 15 business days for you to finish one cup? Well, this is the reason why, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and I let my tumblers sit for about a day every single time I paint it, every single time I put the stickers. I do not rush the progress of me making a cup, because I don't want people getting a bad custom tumbler, you know, and I don't want them, you know, it's a lot of money for them to spend on it. So I want to make sure that I do everything close to perfect. I mean, I won't make it perfect, nobody can make it perfect, but close to it. Just making sure that no stones come off, no paint chipped or anything like that. So yeah, and that's that. Now let's move on to the cow print. And now again, I'm using a permanent vinyl for my cow print, and the same thing with the logo. You can go ahead and purchase it somewhere, right? So you can see here there's a two-toned brown that I have. It's just because I run out of the dark brown, because I had to use the light brown for the logo. I'd rather use the light brown for the logo than use the light brown for the cow print. But I normally use the dark brown just because it's a lot better. And it's fine, even though it's dark, you hardly can tell the difference because of the rhinestone. So there's no one way of doing this. Just go about how you feel your tumbler you would want it to look like. There's no one way. So whatever makes you happy, just place all this random print everywhere. Just like every cow is unique, so you wouldn't want everybody to have the same, print on them. So yeah. So once you're done putting everything all over your cup, on the lid, everywhere, once you're happy with all of the prints, you can go ahead and move on to the material. And the material that I will be using will be in the description down below. These are the rhinestone trays. They open into 2 trays. And the stones that I would be using are the rose gold, 5mm, 4mm, and 3mm. And like this one, a lot of people use the polar bear, but in my situation, I decided to change my mind and go for the snow queen. And I'm gonna put the name on somewhere on the screen, and it's gonna be different because it has a kind of like a pink and a bluish sparkle to it compared to the plain white. And these are the pen and the glue. You can find it on the beginner's kit. And so yeah, like I said, you can open the trays into 2. That's what I did. And you'll see I'm using the polar bear here, but I would change midway. You'll see it later on. Okay, so here you can see, I zoom you guys in just to show you, this is the time that I actually changed to a different color now. This is the Snow Queen. So you can see it's a very kind of AB holographic effect. It has a pink and a bluish, purplish hue to it. But I used the SS12, which is 3mm, and just put a tiny bit of gem tack around the logo, in between the blue and the white. Sorry, not the blue, the brown and the white. And you put your rhinestones there, as I'm doing here right now. So you just go around the entire logo, and I'll be right back and I'll show you once it's all done. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Just put the rhinestone all around the logo, and now let's move on to the bottom part. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the bottom part of the tumbler. Now a lot of people like to do the top first, and some people like to do the bottom part first. I like to do both. I would do the top and the bottom, and then kind of work my way into the middle. But for this part, the bottom part, you just go ahead and fill an entire line of the SS20, which is the 5mm. Again, the same color, Snow Queen. You can use whatever color you want, but for this one, I'm using the Snow Queen. Okay, so let me go ahead and finish the entire row, and I'll be right back. Just make sure, again, run your fingers on the bottom and nothing is sticking out. Alright, so everything is done. This is what it looks like. I just did an entire row, the first row, and yeah, it looks good to me. Again, always run your finger on the bottom just to make sure nothing is sticking out, to avoid the stone being hooked onto something, yeah. So let's move on to the next step. So like I mentioned earlier, I used a mixed method of honeycomb and the scatter as I go in the middle. So here, honeycomb method is exactly what I'm doing right now, is putting the next stone in between the first row, just like that. And you just go about it. Again, it's very easy in the beginning. It just gets complicated once, the stone doesn't really fit into place. It's either you have a little bit of space there, or there is a big space, and an SS20 would look like it has a big gap. Now, one thing that I would have to say though, when you're doing bling tumbler, you have to embrace the gap, because there is in no way you could cover all of the gaps. That's why I always recommend to always paint your tumbler first, or use a sublimated tumbler, which I can put the link down in the description below as well. So you just do that, and as you can see, I didn't finish the entire row just because I wanted to see and show you guys what I meant by you have to use the SS4 and the not the SS4, the SS16 and the SS12. So it's for the small gaps and the big gaps that an SS20 doesn't fit. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys where those spots are. So like you can see here, you're getting close to the brown one. So this is the time where you have to use the rose gold. Now this time I'm using the rose gold 5mm. Now while I'm making this part right here, I tend to change my mind here and there, but I would recommend sticking with the SS16 and SS12 with your rose gold. That's what I would highly recommend. After finishing everything, I did not want to use the SS20 on the brown part. I would just like to keep it smaller just because I feel like it's a lot more prettier. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys where kind of in the midsection of me making it, I decided to switch it up. Okay, so for this part, I decided to use a smaller stone, which is the SS12. As you can see, I'm just going ahead and putting the outline first. Again, that's one of the things that I would recommend, is starting with the outline and then work your way in. And so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what it looks like after we're done. Alright, so this is what it looks like when you mix the 16, 20, and 12. Again, I would recommend to just stick with the 16 and 12, but it's up to you. So yeah, don't worry. I know you're probably like, oh my gosh, what happened? You skipped an entire process. I'm gonna go ahead and try and show you guys another spot. Okay, so this is another spot that I told you guys that I would recommend to use a smaller stone, which I did. So I always worked with the SS12 when it comes to the brown part of the cow print. And yeah, just do it bit by bit. And again, the good thing about having a background color is you don't have to worry about those tiny gaps. So I would just use the SS12 for the rose gold, and I would fill in the middle part with the SS16 in combination to the SS12. Again, that's just my opinion, and I'm sorry if I'm out of the screen again. I tend to do that when I take a video. It's very difficult taking a video when making Bling Tumbler. Believe me, it's so difficult. But I decided to do it anyway, just so I can help you guys. For those of you who have a lot of questions how to make this type of tumbler. So yeah, see, it's a lot easier when you use the smaller stone. So definitely recommend sticking with the smaller stone on the cow prints. And of course, the hard part of it all is the letters. Every single time I deal with customized or personalized name on a tumbler is the most time consuming. That's why this product is being sold for $198 before shipping, is because of the lettering. Yes, I do have an option to not do it, but I think it just adds a little bit more personality to the tumblers, and this is why I decided to do it. Again, all of the vinyls, everything, you can go ahead and purchase it on the link down in the description below. So I would always be using the SS12 for the smaller stones for this one. I tried going for a much smaller one, but I can't. It just makes my eyes hurt every single time. So when I bling out the logo of the tumbler, it's usually a lot more expensive because it hurts my eyes. It's very, very tedious work. So again, just follow the outline. That's the best thing about having the outline with the vinyl. It's a lot easier. So yeah, again, the same thing. I would always recommend to work with the smallest one, which is the 3mm SS12. Alright, so this is what it looks like after I've covered all of the brown spot, and now it's time to move on to the white part again. And like I said, I am using, for the white part, everything is Snow Queen, and as you can see in all of these clips, like it's the lighting is very different just because it took me quite, I think, 3 days to complete this tumbler. And now it's time to go and move to the lid part, so the upper part of the tumbler. I'm gonna zoom you guys right in, and I'm just gonna go ahead and try and see if I could speed the video a bit, because it's taking a very long time for this tutorial video. It's probably now 18 minutes. So yeah, for the lid part, I'm going to use not the lid part, sorry, the top part of the tumbler is the SS20 Snow Queen, which is the 5mm. So it's the same thing that you did with the bottom part. You're gonna do the exact same one on the top part of the tumbler. This is not the lid, okay? Not part of the lid. Alright, so now let's move on to the lid part. I know a lot of people use SS20 for this one. I don't, just because I feel like there's still like those gaps on top and bottom, which I don't like seeing. Again, blamed a little bit of a perfectionist inside of me that gets bothered easily with that kind of thing. and of course SS16 is going to be too small. So I end up using SS12, which is 3mm, and I use 2 lines, and again honeycomb method. So yeah, just do this entire thing across, like all around the lid, and I'll fast forward this part and I'll let you see once it's done. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's all done. As you can see, it looks absolutely beautiful, especially if you decide to do the 2 small ones, 2 rows of small ones. And again, it's up to you if you want to go for the big one. I just prefer it this way. Like I said, it just bothers me, the gaps on the top and the bottom, so I prefer to use the smaller size. So here we go, we're just putting the last part of the lid part, if that makes sense. And I understand some people will be like, oh, okay, what's going on? Because there's a gap and I can't fill it. Again, you just have to switch from SS20 to SS12 to SS16. So that's what I did. You see those 2 big ones? That's what I did. So it kind of just makes it perfect. And I know it's too bright, I'm so sorry. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It looks beautiful already. And I'm just gonna go ahead and fill all of the white part with the Snow Queen. And I'm gonna show you once everything is done. So again, when you're doing the white part, always use the 3 sizes, SS20, 16, and 12. So that way you don't have a lot of gaps. Alright, so this is what it looks like, and it is done. It's very beautiful. A lot of people use the polar bear instead of this one. I am loving the color of the Snow Queen just because it's good. And now there's no one way of doing this. You could do either scatter method, you can do honeycomb, you can do both, you can combine both, which I did. And yeah, if there's one thing I want to change for me, is I would just use SS12 and SS16 onto the rose gold. I wouldn't include the 20, just if something I would change in the future and I would make it again. That's what I'm gonna do, is I would stick with a 20 and 12 for this one. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this video a big thumbs up and do not forget to hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!